We are here because we believe that the current race to build ever more powerful AI systems without adequate safeguards poses an unacceptable risk. We're not asking you to stop scientific progress. We're not asking you to ban artificial intelligence. We are asking you to ensure that the most transformative technology ever created does not outpace our ability to control it.
Maxime is a former deep learning engineer and machine learning engineer with over 10 years of experience. But he changed his life and is now dedicating all of his work to making AI go well, making AI safe, and he's doing that in his capacity as the CEO of PauseAI. So please give a round of applause for Maxime.
Before I was doing this, I spent 12 years working in machine learning and deep learning. My last role was at 2 Sigma, one of the world's strongest systematic investment funds, where I led a team. I was leading a research team building document understanding systems using the same kind of technology that today powers ChatGPT. I left that career because I could see where this technology was heading. I've spent the last 2.5 years working on this issue full-time, the first 2 of those unpaid. I tell you this not as a personal story, but to convey the level of urgency that those of us closest to this technology feel. So, a few words on who we are. PauseAI is a federation of organizations across more than 15 countries with thousands of volunteers and supporters worldwide. We are not anti-AI, and I want to stress this because this is vastly misunderstood. We are not anti-AI. Many of us, like myself, built our careers in artificial intelligence. We are here because we believe that the current race to build ever more powerful AI systems without adequate safeguards poses an unacceptable risk, and because we believe that the European Union is uniquely positioned to do something about it. So I want to very briefly lay out what we are concerned about before handing over to Professor Stuart Russell, who will go into the technical substance, I'm sure, into a far greater depth. So what the leading AI laboratories are explicitly racing to build right now is something called AGI, Artificial General Intelligence, a system that can do everything that a human can do intellectually. So not just answer questions, but conduct scientific research, write software, run companies, develop new technologies, including develop better AI systems. And I'd like you to take a moment to really consider what that means. A system that can perform any intellectual task any human can perform, including everyone here in this room, including myself, what I'm doing right now, including your daily job, etc. 5 years ago, the consensus among researchers was that this was decades away. Some were talking about 100 years. Today, most researchers at frontier AI companies estimate 2 to 5 years. So this is not speculation from outsiders. This is the assessment of the people building these systems. And this creates 2 existential challenges. And I use the word existential not lightly here. The first one is loss of control. AI systems are trained, not programmed. We do not fully understand how they work. The field of alignment, which consists in ensuring AI systems do what we intend, is, by admission of its own researchers, not on track. We do not know how to reliably control systems more competent than ourselves, and we may not get a second chance to learn. The second challenge is just as grave. Even if we solve the technical control problem, a small number of unelected individuals concentrated in a handful of companies are making decisions right now that will determine the future of every person on this planet. If you control a system that can perform all human intellectual labor, you control the economy, you control governance, you control the future. No democratic mandate exists for this. So this assessment is not ours alone. Hundreds of leading AI researchers, including Geoffrey Hinton, Nobel Prize laureate, Yoshua Bengio, the most cited scientist in the world, and Professor Stuart Russell, who is with us today, have called for treating AI extinction risk as a global priority alongside pandemics and nuclear war. Besides, we have the Bletchley Declaration signed by 28 nations, including the United States and China, that explicitly recognizes the potential for catastrophic harm from advanced AI. And we have the International Scientific Report on AI Safety led by Yoshua Bengio, which confirms the scientific consensus that future systems could evade human control. So Professor Russell will explain the technical dimensions shortly. So I am going to move on to why the EU. Now, I know that some of you in this room worked very hard on the AI Act, and I really want to thank you for this. This is a very important piece of legislation, but it was designed to regulate AI products on the market. It was not designed to address the extinction risk posed by the race to build artificial superintelligence. So there is a critical gap. And this is where the European Union has a unique role to play. The EU has a proven track record of setting global standards. GDPR reshaped data protection worldwide. The EU also has the credibility to act as a neutral convener between major geopolitical players. And this is very important, the EU has practical leverage. To illustrate, the advanced chips required to train frontier AI systems depend on lithography machines produced by ASML in the Netherlands, using precision optics made by Carl Zeiss in Germany. This is European technology at the very heart of the global AI supply chain. This is not leverage we need to create, it already exists. We will be distributing 2 documents today. The first is a policy brief that summarizes the case and our recommendations. The second is a draft resolution of the European Parliament that translates those recommendations into formal language that can be tabled. So let me walk you through the 4 core proposals. The first one is to convene a global summit on AI safety and alignment within 6 months. Now, I want to address something directly, and I think this may very well be the most important part of my speech here today. At the India AI Summit last week, the United States declared that, and I quote, "it totally rejects global governance of AI." So I understand that some of you may hear this and think, then what is the point? Well, I would remind this room that the Paris Climate Agreement was built despite years of American resistance. GDPR reshaped global data practices without American participation. And the pattern is clear. When a critical mass of nations builds a credible framework, it creates a gravitational pull that even reluctant powers cannot ignore indefinitely. American administrations change. The framework must be ready when they do. The US rejection does not make a summit less necessary. On the contrary, it makes European leadership more necessary. The EU should initiate consultations from willing partners, the United Kingdom, Canada, Japan, South Korea, and others, as well as relevant international organizations. Build the coalition, set the standard. The objective is straightforward. Create the table. Others will come to it when the cost of staying away exceeds the cost of joining. Second, propose the creation of an international AI safety council. This body, which could sit under the United Nations or another suitable international organization, would have several critical functions. It would define variable capability thresholds, basically objective criteria for when AI development poses unacceptable risks. And it would also establish monitoring mechanisms, advise on the minimum safety conditions that must be met before development could resume, and mandate emergency shutdown capabilities for systems that exceed these thresholds. Third, offer a European draft text for an internationally coordinated moratorium. This moratorium would cover the training, deployment, and interconnection of AI systems that meet or risk meeting the capability thresholds I just described. It would remain in force until demonstrable, independently verifiable safety and alignment measures have been achieved. This is not an indefinite ban. I really want to stress this. It is a conditional pause. Development resumes when we can prove it is safe, just like the standard in every other industry. Fourth, back an EU-funded research and verification program. We need investment in alignment research, in interpretability tools, and third-party auditing methodologies. And crucially, these must be open. What I mean by this is transparent, reproducible, and publicly available, so that they can underpin international verification. These 4 proposals are designed to work together. The summit creates the forum, the Safety Council creates the technical framework, the moratorium creates the binding commitment, and the research program creates the pathway to safely resume development. I want to close with what members of the European Parliament can do concretely. The draft resolution we are handing you today is ready to be endorsed and tabled. It calls on the Commission and the High Representative to initiate these consultations and report back to Parliament within 6 months. You can request a targeted briefing session with the Commission's services and relevant scientific experts within the next 4 to 6 weeks to begin defining preliminary technical thresholds. And you can mobilize cross-party support and invite co-sponsorship from colleagues in the foreign policy and technology committees. The documents we are giving you today contain everything you need to start this process. The policy brief gives you the arguments. The draft resolution gives you the instrument. I want to leave you with one thought. We're not asking you to stop scientific progress. We're not asking you to ban artificial intelligence. We are asking you to ensure that the most transformative technology ever created does not outpace our ability to control it. Thank you very much. I look forward to Professor Russell's presentation and to the discussion that follows.